Hey guys, it's Kevin again. This is going to be another classic movie review, and this movie I'm going to be reviewing, I've wanted to see for a very long time. First of all, I really want to see a lot of films by this director, and plus it seemed like a really interesting concept, and that movie is the 2002 Dramedy Adaptation. Adaptation's a film I always was very interested in. I remember I found out the plot from, actually, YouTube user AlbumMike18, who subscribed to the channel if you haven't. He's great, but one of the things I thought was really interesting about the movie was that, one, I've never seen a Spike Jonze film. Like, I've never seen a Spike Jonze film. I know it's a crime against humanity that I haven't. I started Being John Malkovich last year. I never finished it, but besides Being John Malkovich, I haven't seen any other Spike Jonze film. So I'm like, okay, this would be a good one to start with. And after watching Adaptation, what I think of it, Adaptation is a good movie. It's not a great movie. It's a good movie. It has a few problems, one major, a few minor problems, one extremely major problem that almost ruined the movie, but it wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be, but I still did enjoy this movie. In fact, one of the things I think was great about this movie is the plot of this movie, because the plot of this movie I think is actually really cool, because it focuses on this guy, Charlie Kaufman. He is an actual writer for Spike Jonze. Like, in real life, I'm talking about this. Like, there was this guy, Charlie Kaufman, he's trying to write a screenplay and he got writer's block. So basically, he came up with an idea for this movie about writing a guy that has writer's block, and basically, he just wrote about what he was trying to do, because he's trying to make a movie of this book called The Orchid Thief, which is this very popular book by Susan Orlean, and basically, he gets writer's block, and he has to have his brother help him come up with the, book, and basically they come up with a movie and screenplay and everything. Basically, they end up writing it together, and also, you can see that Charlie's very insecure about himself, and that's basically the plot of Adaptation, which I thought was really good, and I definitely enjoyed that plot. I thought that was a really interesting plot, actually. Now, let's get to the good things. I want to talk about the good things, and then I'm going to talk about my complaints with the movie, because I actually do have a lot of complaints with this movie, which I wasn't expecting to have, and I was thinking throughout this movie, is there some kind of analysis or whatever, which I'll get to, but first let's get to the acting. Nicolas Cage in this movie. This is Nicolas Cage's best performance. I'm sorry, it is. I mean, a lot of people say Nicolas Cage is this terrible actor, and I have yet to see a really good film from him. This was probably the first time I saw a really good film from Nicolas Cage. He was actually really good in this movie. I thought he did a really good job, actually. And one of the things I love is that he's actually playing a dual role in this movie. He's playing Charlie Kaufman, and also Charlie Kaufman decided to have a little fun with this movie, so he actually wrote in a brother, Donald Kaufman, and I love the difference between these two characters. Charlie Kaufman's really insecure about himself. He hates himself. He's always, like, criticizing himself, and it's really interesting. In fact, the first scene in this movie, he's, like, talking to this woman. He's like, does she like me? Is there something wrong with me? And I just thought that was really interesting overall. Donald Kaufman, though, is the complete opposite. He has his whole life strained out. He's a lot more confident about himself. He doesn't have much of a life, but he's just a lot more confident, while Charlie does have a huge life, and it's just a nervous wreck all the time. And I thought Nicolas Cage handled that really well. And he actually has some of the funniest moments in the movie. In fact, one of my favorite parts of the movie is just seeing Charlie try to brainstorm, because you know how, like, quiet Charlie is? Well, when he brainstorms, he gets, like, really loud, and he gets, like, really confident, and I thought that was really funny to see. And it all worked really well. He did a really good job of playing this role. I think he really embodied Charlie Kaufman really well, and he was a lot of fun to watch, definitely. He was the highlight of the film. Meryl Streep's character, Susan Orlean, I really liked her character. At the same time, I didn't like her character. I thought she gave a good performance overall, but I didn't really like her character, nor did I like Chris Cooper as John LaRoche. I didn't really like her character either, because basically they're trying to do, like, this side plot where we see that Susan Orlean made up this, book about this romance, she used to date John LaRoche, and basically they had, like, a huge, like, secret romance and everything, and it just didn't work for me. I didn't care about their whole relationship plot, because it was hard to tell what was real and what was, like, a dream world for her, so I didn't really care about their characters. I wanted to, but I didn't, and that's kind of a problem when you don't care about the characters. I wish I would have cared more, but I really didn't. I thought Cara Seymour as Amelia Cavan was really good. She's this girl that Charlie's kind of hesitant of dating, and I like their plot overall. I thought they were really good. And that's really all I have to say about the people that are in acting department. There's no one really else to talk about. Judy Greer is a really good supporting role, I'll say that. I like Judy Greer's supporting role. Let's get to the directing by Spike Jonze. I thought his directing was great to this movie. He really directed it very well, very subtly, something I definitely enjoyed. Well, until the third half, that is. I'm going to talk about how fucked up and crazy the third half got, but I thought his directing overall was really good. I love what he's trying to show, and my favorite thing about this movie, though, was by far the screenplay, because Charlie Kaufman came up with this movie, let's just remember, because he had writer's block, and he couldn't come up with any other plot. It's honestly pretty genius that he just made a movie about a man having writer's block because he couldn't come up with another movie, and it's really awesome they did that, and I love that, and he did a great job with the screenplay, definitely. I mean, you can, of course, he tried to have a little bit of fun with it. I like that he didn't make it completely nonfiction, like he did put some fiction things in there, like Charlie Kaufman real life doesn't have a brother, but he had fun with that, and he even said that Donald Kaufman wrote the screenplay, that's what I thought was kind of funny. Donald Kaufman, his brother, he said that, he added that in there, and he also added the romantic plot. I don't believe that was in the original thing, which I thought was really cool he did that, and I definitely really enjoyed that he did that. I thought that was really cool. The cinematography here is great. There's some great dream sequences, definitely. There's some beautiful, beautiful cinematography in this movie that I definitely really enjoyed. I thought there was some great cinematography. Absolutely love the cinematography in this movie. And the one of the things I definitely liked, I have to say, and not just cinematography, but in general, and this is something that I wish they would have done more throughout the movies, and the first scene in this movie is actually a scene where you see them shooting Being John Malkovich, because Charlie Kaufman wrote Being John Malkovich. We see Charlie Kaufman, Nicolas Cage, in the background while they are shooting it, and it was really cool. It definitely is one of the highlights of this movie. It kind of gave me a little Forrest Gump vibes, which is always a major plus in my book, and that was awesome that they did that, and I love that. I was like, you know what, that's awesome, that they're respecting, Forrest Gump, obviously, and I love that. I don't know if they were trying to respect it, but I thought that was really cool as well. The editing, I thought, was okay. The first half of this movie I was really into, but then the second half I kind of lost interest. And now we're going to get to my problems with the movie. I mainly have a few problems, actually. My first problem with this movie is that it's very hard to tell the difference between what's real and what's not real. Because you see Meryl Streep's character, as I said, had a relationship with John LaRoche, and there was a point where I'm like, did she actually have a relationship with him, or does she want to pretend that? Like, I didn't know if the book was real, or if it wasn't real. I didn't really know what was going on there. It was very confusing, and it really didn't work for me. Their whole relationship did not work. The whole time they're just talking about, like, plants and things like that, and it's like, I don't give a shit about your plants. Like, seriously, I want to know more about your relationship. Why I should even care about it, because I didn't care. If you would have taken that whole plot out of the movie, I think it would have made the movie a lot better, and I understand we had to give her something to do, but I didn't like the way they connected it overall, because in real life, that didn't happen. I mean, I understand Charlie Kaufman wanted to have a little bit of fun with it, but make it, more Hollywood, but I did not like that at all. I thought their chemistry was really lacking, and I just didn't really care about their whole relationship plot. My other problem with the movie is that I felt like some of the characters were very underused, actually. I feel like we didn't have enough for, like, Tilda Swinton or Judy Greer. I feel like they were very underused, and I didn't feel like I cared about them as much as I should. And also, it's very hard to tell the difference between Charlie and Donald. They look so much the same that there are times where I'm like, why would Charlie be saying, oh, yeah, that's Donald? Why would, oh, yeah, that's Charlie? Like, it just got really confusing when they're in a scene together. And I understand that, like, they're playing the same character, but you could have at least made them a little bit different. Like, they don't look different at all. They both look the same, and that really did not work. I was like, there just has to be something they can do to make me just be able to tell the difference between the two, because I couldn't tell the difference between them. And I didn't like that. I really did not like that I couldn't tell the difference, because if he's playing two characters, I want to see the difference between these two characters. I knew the differences between them, but I'm just saying when you saw them, I couldn't tell who was who, and that kind of confused me and kind of made me like the movie less. But my biggest problem with this movie, is the third half of this movie. We're getting to spoiler territory now, but honestly, guys, if you really want to see this movie, watch it on Amazon Instant Video. It's free there. Watch it on Prime. Don't buy this movie, because if you really enjoy this movie, you'll probably end up like me. You'll really like this movie till the third half. The third half, I was warned that the third half was going to be bad. And let me explain something about the third half. I tried to come up with something. Okay, I tried to think of, okay, is this trying to show me something? Is Charlie Kaufman trying to show something here? And I couldn't tell what he was showing. And to me, it just seemed like Charlie Kaufman didn't know how to end the movie and wanted to make it as Hollywoodized as possible and not tell the actual story. If you would have just told the actual story of what happened, it could have been as clever. But the problem is the movie is not some big epic that the ending doesn't make any sense whatsoever. First of all, the whole thing with John LaRoche and Susan Orlean making that drug that causes fascinations, I thought was complete bullshit, and I'm just like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, seriously, it made no sense to me, and I didn't care. I didn't care one thing about the relationship, and them making her an antagonist just seemed like they didn't know what else to do with her. They had this relationship plot, they didn't know what else to do, and you build this whole relationship, but then they're the villains? Like, that doesn't make any sense, and Basically, Charlie, of course, observing them taking the drug, they're having sex, and then she, of course, decides, and first she's like, why are you here? Who are you? And eventually she realizes that oh shit, he saw us taking the drug, so they have to try to kill him. Okay, so they try to kill him. She forces him at gunpoint to drive to the swamp where she intends to kill him, and then, Charlie and Donald escape. The one thing that saved this scene for me, the one thing that, saved this from becoming utter shit and making me never want to talk about this again, and making me go on a full-on rant here, was the acting. I thought the way that they handled the deaths were good. Donald's death was handled really well. Obviously, Charlie was really upset because, they were reconnecting everything. I thought that was really well handled. After that, though, I thought it was ridiculous. Of course, we see Charlie runs off in the swamp. He's spotted by, LaRoche, and John's killed by an alligator. Why is he killed by an alligator? I don't know. To me, it just seemed like Charlie Kaufman didn't know what else to do with him and didn't want himself to die, so he just killed John LaRoche and made him be killed by an alligator. I don't know why the alligator's there. I don't know where it came from. For whatever reason, there's an alligator there. I don't know why. Maybe someone can explain to me. I don't know why there's an alligator there, though. So then, of course, she's, Susan is, of course, upset about she's arrested, and then basically he makes up with his mother. I thought the very ending was really good when we're seeing how he's, getting a voiceover, how the script is finished and everything. I thought that was really good. But just the fact that the way the movie ended didn't go with the rest of the movie. And let me explain what my problem is. My problem is not what exactly happened. It's the problem that happened in this movie. Because the movie's trying to tell me, to have a good screenplay and not make it ridiculous and not make it subtle and make it subtle and things like that. But then you go with that. Then you do that. And since it's such a quiet movie, it's not even a big movie. This was a very dialogue heavy movie, and then you just give me this huge action scene out of nowhere. Where the fuck did this all come from? Why is this in this movie? I don't know. To me, it just seemed like Charlie Kaufman didn't know how else to end the movie, so he just ended it this way, and it really pissed me off that he did that, because I was really into this movie. I was definitely very into it. Until that ending, I'm like, can this movie end already? Like, I was really upset by that. I thought it was a really good ending. I thought the movie was really good until that, and then I was just like, I'm really upset about this because I really was enjoying it. I mean, when Donald was saying he'd help out Charlie, and then he's like, okay, I'll go with you. I'm like, okay, she's gonna either love or hate his book, and this could make or break his career. But no, he catches her doing drugs, and she gets arrested, and that whole part of the movie ends up being meaningless. So, it was bullshit. And I just thought it was really dumb overall. I thought the way the movie ended was ridiculous. And when the movie was over, I kind of just felt like I wanted more. I really did. I watched the movie, I'm like, I want more from this. I wasn't happy with the way the movie ended. I could have thought of a million better ways for the movie to end than that. That was a ridiculous ending. It didn't ruin the movie for me, but I hated the ending. I hated what happened, and I thought it was ridiculous. To me, it just seemed like that was not even written by Charlie Kaufman. To me, it just seems like, okay, we got the movie done, we have to make an ending, we have to get the ending out, so let's just put whatever we can in there. Let's put some random bullshit in there. Let's get John LaRoche to be eaten by an alligator. All right, we're good, we're done. Good, that's the ending. And it didn't make any sense, and I just thought it was really dumb, and overall, that didn't really work for me. But overall, guys, I did enjoy Adaptation, but it is my least favorite of the classic movie reviews I have reviewed. I don't hate this movie by any means. I hate the ending. I don't hate the movie, though. I think there are some really good things about this movie. Nicolas Cage was great in this movie. It's his best performance I think I've seen him give, and anyone that said Nicolas Cage is bad, I think this movie will prove you wrong. He has that, which I thought was great. This movie did have some great things about it. In fact, Chris Krueger won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. I don't know why he didn't. I don't know why he did, because I didn't really feel he deserved it. But Nicolas Cage and Streep are both nominated, and Charlie and Donald Kaufman are nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay, and they should have won, but they didn't. And I was just really, the whole ending of the movie, I'm just like, whatever, I thought this was really weird, and that's basically how I feel about Adaptation. So that's basically my review of Adaptation. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if you guys saw this movie. Did you enjoy it? Did you like it? What'd you think of the ending? I really want to know you guys' thoughts on the ending. I was trying to think, is there something they're trying to show us? I was trying to think of some sort of analysis to come up with. There is nothing I can say, okay? I can't really come up with analysis with someone being eaten by an alligator. I really can't. There's no analysis with someone being eaten by an alligator. I saw someone's theory that they think Donald is fake. It makes no sense whatsoever, and that's basically my review. Hope you guys enjoy it, and I will see more Spike Jonze films. I definitely would. I don't think this was a good one to start with. I think if you guys want to, I think any young filmmaker should watch this movie. If you want to start off with a, Spike Jonze film, don't watch this movie. It's going to ruin his movies for you. For me, it was a bad choice to start with this movie. I shouldn't have started with this. I should have started with, like, Where the Wild Things Are. That would have been a better one to start with. Which I'll probably watch that one next in the Spike Jonze movies I'm watching. Because I'm watching all 4 of his movies, even Her. Because I think that's going to be a classic in, you know, a few years from now. But that's basically my review. Hope you guys enjoy it. I'll see you guys in my next video, which will be our review for tonight's episode of Game of Thrones. So I'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.